Hello. Well, you didn't set fire to yourself then. Didn't think you would, because you ain't got the balls for it. But you have got the balls to sit here for another 10 minutes or so, listening to me talking a load of bollocks about our top 100 board games of all time. We're now down into the top 50, so things are starting to get exciting and things are starting to get a little bit more sarcastic as well. But rather than me waffle on about a load of bullshit, let's crack on this list. Bollocks. So number 50 on this list is a game by Daniel Tascini. There's a bit of controversy surrounding this geezer last year. I can't exactly remember what sort of heinous crime he is supposed to have committed, but it probably has something to do with the fact that he upset the board gaming Twitterati on Twitter. Anyway, the only thing I'm worried about is whether or not he makes decent games. And this is an example of one of his better games. In the Voyages of Marco Polo, you'll be rolling dice and you'll be using the pips on a dice to take different actions. You might want to go and get some camels because the Sahara Desert can get a little bit lonely, let me tell you. You might want to travel around Europe visiting trading posts, or you might just want to go to the Sultan to get a quick buck, right? Voyages of Marco Polo looks absolutely fantastic, but I'm telling you now, thing that we really like about this game is the fact that everybody is given a character with an ability that absolutely destroys the game into a million different pieces. The abilities of these characters are so bloody powerful that everybody's looking at each other's character thinking, oh, I wish I had that one. I wish I had that one. I wish I had that one. I wish I had the one I got in my hand, which I have got in my hand already. It's a fantastic game. There was an expansion for this called something to do with Venice or something. And they even did Marco Polo 2, which we didn't play because we've already got Marco Polo 1. Wish there was a little bit of ice cream in this just to add to the theme. But in the absence of Raspberry Ripple, we'll just take vanilla Marco Polo. Know what I mean? Number 49 on this list is a dexterity game that sees you flicking discs around a dungeon. It's called Catacombs. This is the third edition of Catacombs. Didn't play the second edition because it looked like dog shit, and we didn't even know that there was a first edition, even though logic tells us that there has to have been a first edition in order for there to be a second and third edition. But anyway, in Catacombs, it's a one versus all type of game. One player is going to be playing the overlord character that's going to take control of all the monsters, and all the other characters are going to be taking on the role of sort of traditional D&D characters like wizards, barbarians and all that sort of stuff. You'll be flicking your discs around the board to move, and each character will be in possession of weapons or spells or whatever, and you'll be using little smaller discs to maybe fire a bow and all that sort of stuff. The Overlord is trying to kill the characters, and the characters are trying to kill the monsters that will then allow them to progress through the levels of the dungeon where they will kill the big bad boss, then they're going to win the game. We love Catacombs, dripping with theme. There's a gazillion and one expansions for this, like the Caverns of Soloth, the Wyverns of Wylamur or whatever, and there's loads of little itty bitty expansions that you can pick up on the publisher's website. Yeah, so if you like dexterity games, then this is a no-brainer, and if you ain't got it, then you ain't got a brain. Number 48 on this list is a bag building game called Orleans, or Orleans if you want to be a ponce about it. In this game, you'll be hiring different characters and lobbing them in your bag. Then you'll be taking the characters out and then you'll be placing them on your board to take actions. You might want to wander around the streets of Orleans picking up big lumps of cheese. Or you might want to dump some monks into the church where they're going to stay and just earn you a load of points. This game looks fantastic. It's got the same sort of artwork as that by Tapestry. You know, in the days when people couldn't draw properly and then suddenly out of the blue they could paint like a fucking superstar. So Orleans, absolutely fantastic Euro game. If you don't like Euro games, you ain't going to like this. And if you don't like Euro games, I probably won't like you either. Just kidding. Number 47 is yet another dexterity game, right? For every dexterity game that's going to be on this list subsequently, I will remove one of my toes, I promise. Classical Clask sees you basically playing sort of table hockey on a table. You'll have this little magnetic stick. One part of it goes under the table, one goes on top and it clicks together. We're moving this stick around to knock a ball into your opponent's goal, right? If your house isn't big enough for an air hockey table, then Clask is the next best thing. It's frenetic, it's exciting, it's fast paced, and I'm fucking brilliant at it. So if you think you can beat me, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Number 46 is another dexterity game, and I've just lost my little toe. It's Coconuts. And in this game, you'll have a little plastic monkey. This is going to be really hard to describe, but you're going to have a little plastic monkey with like spring-loaded arms. You're going to be putting a little rubber coconut in its hand. You'll be flicking the arms to launch the coconut into these cups. When you actually get your coconut into a cup, you'll put the cup on your player mat, and then you'll be stacking these cups up into like a pyramid shape. And the first player to complete a pyramid will win the game. This is a game that came over from Korea. It's from the same company, I do believe, who made Clack Clack Lumberjack. There's a 2-player version. It's called Coconuts Duo if you don't have that many friends, which you probably don't because you're an ugly bastard. And if you merge them together, you can have a 6-player game, but I wouldn't recommend that because it goes on too long and your helmet will probably go green. So yeah, Coconuts is one of our favourite dexterity games of all time. It used to be high up on this, but we don't play it as much as we used to because I suppose my kids are getting older and a lot playing Minecraft and video games and all that fucking useless crap. Well, it looks like we completely forgot number, what is it, number what? I can't remember what number it is now. Number 45, which is Shadows over Camelot. So we're going to insert it in. Sounded dodgy, didn't it? I'm going to slide it in now because with my brain being like a goldfish, I'll probably forget to put it in later. So number 45 on this, 45, fuck. Yeah, number 45 on this list is a game called Shadows over Camelot. This is credited as being the first hidden traitor game. I don't actually believe that it was the first hidden traitor game, but it's the first hidden traitor game that caused a bit of a stink, right? In this game, you'll be taking the role of one of the knights of the round table, and you'll be trying to get white swords into Camelot, all the while preventing black swords from entering Camelot. The main thing you've got to worry about is that one of your teammates is going to be a hidden traitor. On your turn, you'll be choosing a good thing that can happen. This might be fighting off the Picts, or it might be trying to complete one of the multitude of quests that are available, like trying to get hold of the Holy Grail, trying to get hold of Lancelot's armour, or trying to defeat the Black Knight. Once you've done that, you have to make sure that something bad happens. This is a way for the hidden traitor to do some damage without being caught. Shadows over Camelot is still a really enjoyable game. Almost a decade and a half after it was first published, and it's one of Bruno Cafala's best games. Some people prefer Battlestar Galactica to this, but I just like the fact that this plays in a quicker amount of time and it's a little bit more simple to play because it suits my intelligence. Number 44 on this list is a game that we believe started the Kickstarter revolution. It's Zombicide. We're talking about the first season of Zombicide. We're not talking about the Black Plague, the Green Horde, Zombicide Invader, blah, 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 all the other nonsense iterations of Zombicide that have come before that people still throw millions of dollars at, right? In Zombicide, you'll be trying to complete the objectives in a scenario. You'll be running around, usually a city. You'll be trying to get to different locations to do stuff, all the while trying to avoid or maybe slice into pieces hordes and hordes of zombies. At the time, the miniatures in this game were regarded to be absolutely fantastic, but if you look back now, they look a bit shit, actually. It's just testament to how far CMON have come with the quality of their products. Not necessarily the quality of the actual games, but just the components, yeah? But Zombicide is a really simple game. It's just one of them move, attack, move type things. And it's just chewing gum for the brain, and we love it. Number 43 on this list is a Euro game that doesn't really have any theme. I can hear the naysayers out there screaming, Euros don't have any theme anyway, which is probably true, but this one basically hasn't got any theme. It's called Terra Mystica. In this game, you will be taking control of one of a bucket load of factions. You'll be trying to score victory points, right? You'll do this by building buildings and trying to build settlements next to each other. Each faction is able to terraform land into a land that is favourable to their faction, and you'll do this by spending spades. This is sort of like a point salad-y type thing that sort of tastes like Catan, but is a little bit more complicated. The victory conditions change every game, and whilst it's dry and doesn't really have any sort of character, when you're playing this with a full complement of 5 players, then the paths to victory and the competition for spaces means that it really is one of them brain-burning games that we enjoy a lot. So it turns out that we forgot to put in our number 42. You might wonder why I'm dressed as Scott of the Antarctic, and that's because it is actually -3 degrees in my little ball gaming dungeon. So in Blood Rage, you'll be taking on the role of one of the clans of Vikings, and you'll be trying to take control of different areas of the map. You'll be trying to complete quests. You'll be able to take under your wing a number of huge mythical monsters like the sea serpent, like the troll, or like the big fuck-off giant. Blood Rage features a pretty bog-standard card drafting mechanism, but there's always something decent going on. You never have a wasted turn, and the game is always really, really tight. So for us, Blood Rage is probably one of Eric Lang's best games. It's just a shame that he don't make decent games anymore, right? And that is a bit of a tragedy. But there you go. It's number 41, and the game that is destined to conclude this part of our top 100 board games of all time. Thankfully, you're probably saying, yeah, is a game called Picture Perfect. In this game, you'll be literally taking a picture with your phone of a scene from a gentrified gathering. Each of the guests is represented by a standee, and each of the guests is going to have certain conditions that they want to see in the photo. They might not want to be standing next to a woman. They might not want to be standing next to a man. They might want to be standing next to themselves, funnily enough. Each of these conditions is placed into an envelope, and on each round you'll gain access to these envelopes, and you'll be arranging your scene according to what these guests want. The thing is that you're not going to get access to all the information, so you're just going to have to take a punt on some of it. And once you've gone through all the rounds, you'll get your actual phone or an old wind-up camera if you are one of those technological Luddites, and you'll take a picture of the scene, and then everyone else will judge your picture based on the criteria is revealed at the end of the game. This is a unique game. We've never seen anything like it. It's a light game. It's not going to be taxing. It's a relaxing experience. And it's just fun to arrange your scene according to what you know and then throw things in according to what you don't know. So yeah, Picture Perfect. If you're looking for a game that is completely different to anything that you've ever played, then go out and get it, innit? So there you go. That's the next instalment of our top 100 games of all time. I feel like I've already put about 100 hours into this bullshit series. And lucky for you, you're only going to be watching around about 100 minutes until its conclusion. If you're not bored out of your fucking head by now, then there must be something wrong with you. But if there isn't anything wrong with you and you're not bored out your head, come back for the next segment. That will be number 40 down to 31. And I promise you, there's some stonkers on this list, right?